Good morning. Please excuse my morning exterior. We got back last night and I was way too tired to even consider about talking about what we did all day. We went to this ancient city of Ping Yao, which is really cool. If I had any image of China in my head before we came here, it was of Ping Yao. The whole city is from the 1400s to like the early 1900s, and that's exactly how it still looks today. And it's actually in the shape of a turtle, and there's this one street that goes right down the center of the turtle, and it's called the Spine. And in that spine of the turtle is most of the shops. One of the things, I guess stuck with me the most, I guess for how violent it was the different levels of how the city is protected.
So the enemy came in, first was a moat, and then was this hole over here where they would trap the enemy and then shoot them with cannonballs after they were trapped. And if they somehow survived that, I mean, you still got this massive wall that goes all the way around the city that's like, a foot and a half thick maybe. But that's a lot of defense for a city that's just a cute turtle, you know? Here's the head, and then this shell.
We got this great opportunity to try some of the local food that they were selling. And we went into this one shop, and at first I saw these little tiny wrappers, and they looked like little candies that, like every grandmother has on her coffee table ready for any guest to have, because a lot of them are butterscotch. Anyway, they had this whole section of what looked like candy, but it's actually jerky. It's these little tiny balls of jerky. It was really cool. And they also, on the other end of the store, had these massive jugs of vinegar. And when we're in the supermarket back in the States and we buy vinegar, it's usually just like vinegar, most of it will taste about the same, so there's really no need to test it, right? This place has you test it. They give you a tiny little shot glass and you try your vinegar. It's a little awkward. I don't usually sip vinegar. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just a weirdo who doesn't appreciate vinegar. We also got to visit this family that through the generations has passed down this way of painting for 3D effect. And a 3D effect is done with layer by layer by layer of adding paint. And it's very tedious work. And one of the most interesting things was, once the painting is all done, they have to polish the wood. They take oil and they put it on their hand once the painting is dry, and then they take a piece of hair, a single strand of hair, and put it on their hand, and then they rub the whole painting with that one piece of hair in the oil, and it gets polished. We then got to see these cool shadow puppets, which aren't really performed anymore, but as far as I knew shadow puppets, I knew them from kindergarten. You hold up your tiny little bed sheet and you might do some finger puppets, and you might have some cardboard cutouts that probably look more like squares than they do a horse or whatever you're trying to make it look like. But these are really intricate designs, not to mention that they're made with skin. I'm not entirely sure what kind of skin. They're made with skin, and the skin is dyed, so when the light shines from behind it, it goes through the skin, which is kind of transparent, and when you're looking at it from the other side of the sheet, you see all these colors rather than just your normal outline of the puppet that you have. And it's kind of a shame that they're not really performed anymore, but they're really beautiful, and you can tell the effort that goes into making it. So that night we had dinner at this really fancy restaurant. We were able to see noodle making. These chefs, they were so cool. They had like this massive thing of dough, right? And then they had this little shaver in the other hand. They'd like fling it off, like one by one, and it would just land on the table, or would land in this sheet. This one performer actually like flung it through a hole and it landed in a sheet on the other side. It was really cool. It was quite a performance. And then this other guy had this massive thing of dough, and by the end of it, he had created like 8,000 noodles that were like as thin as hair.